We're here at the Taro Okamoto Memorial Museum, and Taro Okamoto was an avant-garde Japanese artist born in 1911. His father was a comic artist, his mother was a poet and a writer. So, this man was destined to have an art legacy. He went to school in Japan, and then at 18, for his father's work, they all moved to Paris. And when he was in Paris, he was exposed to Pablo Picasso's work, and it had a huge impact on him, and he decided he wanted to dedicate his life to abstraction. So he studied in Paris with painters, and by the age of 25, he was an already established artist on the Paris scene. But that was cut short. He had to come back to Japan because of war, was drafted, ended up serving in China. His time in battle, just made his artwork more anti-authoritarian. He's back in Tokyo. He's looking for inspiration. Up until this point, he had really been a painter. And then he goes to an exhibition at the National Art Museum on prehistoric earthenware by a civilization called Jomon. And, they're known for their squiggly lines and very organic shape. A lot of sculptures depicting women that they think were used in fertility ceremonies. And he was floored. He was like, oh my gosh, this is a culture and a society that Japan really has to be proud of and that we really need to celebrate. And so about a year after being exposed to this exhibition, he makes his first sculpture. And sculpture is something that Taro Okamoto is hugely known for, and to think that he didn't start that till the age of 41 or 42. One of his most famous sculptures is actually the Tower of the Sun, which was built for the 1970 Osaka Expo. And it's meant to represent humanity in the past, present, and future. And the Osaka Expo was a celebration of science and technology and culture from around the world. And it was talking about, progress for peace. And Taro Okamoto really wanted to make the point with his art that just having economic or scientific technological progress was not going to bring peace to man. He has this really famous saying called "art is explosion." And I didn't exactly understand what it meant, but as I was reading more of what he's written, I see it as this idea of kind of like the Big Bang Theory. It feels that opposites really need to come together and collide, and through their collision, something new is born. You find possibilities, there's opportunity there. And so he feels that through resolving our differences and coming together, even though there might be some conflict, that's what will lead to an eventually prosperous and harmonious society. So let's go in and see some of his artwork. It's hugely abstracted. He feels that abstraction makes it more universal. It's very playful, very irreverent. At the end of his life in Japan, Okamoto was really seen as an eccentric and maybe not taken so seriously. But I think now that there's been more time since he's passed, and you don't have these pop culture commercials, we can really look at his artwork for the impact that it had on Japanese society. And if you're here and you can't come to the museum, I'll just tell you that Shibuya Station has one of his artworks. It's a painting. It was done for the Olympic in Mexico for a hotel, but they ended up not using it, and the painting had been lost for many years. And then a group of artists came together to advocate to get it brought back to Japan. And so it's in the corridor connecting the Keio Inokashira line to the Ginza and Yamanote line. And it's called The Myth of Tomorrow, and it's a big anti-nuclear piece. So